What's up, guys? Scary, spoopy video. Get your big boy pants on because you don't want to dump her. You don't want to dump in your diaper. Scary. That was a good intro. That was a good intro.
Today's video is sponsored by Lucky Stars. Lucky Stars make these beautiful, personalized star maps showing the unique alignment of the stars in a place and time chosen by you. They're the perfect gift for immortalizing an important moment in your life. Enter the location, date and time of the special memory you'd like to commemorate, and Lucky Stars will render the constellations and star patterns that were above you at that exact moment. The results for your unique search are independent.
Oh, so it's like you pick a time and day, and then they like take a picture of that time and day and then make it into a portrait? Interesting. That's pretty interesting.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. On the night of June 3rd, 1991, between the hours of 9:30 p.m. and 11 p.m,
Dude,
a local trucker
wild, man.
named Eduardo Collin checked into a Super 8 motel. Despite seemingly having arrived by himself, he asked the clerk for a two-person room for one night and was given the keys to room 233. Eduardo paid in cash
Super
at the
8
trucker's
motels
rate,
are not that
and the
super,
clerk told
chat.
him to check out by 11 a.m. the following morning. 2 days later, on June 5th, the hotel employees realized that Eduardo hadn't checked out the previous morning like he was supposed to. A security guard was sent to check up on him. The door to room 233 was locked from the inside, and there was a "Do Not Disturb" sign hanging from the doorknob. The guard knocked,
He just had to poop.
but there was no answer.
Very long
So,
poop.
with no spare key available, he used a screwdriver to gain access to the room. Aside from a few bottles on the table, nothing really seemed out of place. That is, until he entered the bathroom. Inside, hanging from the shower
He was pooping.
head by a suitcase strap, was the lifeless body of an unidentified woman.
Oh.
Despite her face being badly decomposed, pathologists believe she died the exact same day Eduardo had checked into the motel, 2 days prior.
How would her face be highly decomposed?
On June 3rd. A toxicology report revealed that she had heroin in her system. She was a Caucasian, or possibly Hispanic woman, between the ages of 25 and 35. She stood around 5'7", weighed approximately 140 pounds, and had curly, strawberry blonde hair. With nothing to ID her with, they dubbed her the Albuquerque Jane Doe. Investigators examined the room, and one of the first things they found was this picture resting on the table. The photo is believed to be of the deceased woman herself, sat next to an unidentified man.
Don't tell me she's like already dead, dude. Like don't ruin my life by saying that this picture's like, oh, she was already dead.
Distorted angle, combined with the doe's expression, give the picture an eerie, almost uncanny quality that leaves a lot of people feeling unsettled. Given the photo's backstory,
Shadow.
that's
I know.
not surprising. It's believed the image was taken in a mall photo booth just a few short hours before the woman's death. The photo was shown to the clerk, who was working on the night of the 3rd, and despite not seeing the woman enter the motel, she confirmed that the man in the picture was indeed Eduardo. As it would turn out, Eduardo had checked into the motel using legitimate information. The only thing he had lied about was his license plate number. After several years of detective work, Eduardo's family was tracked down. By the time the police found them, however, Eduardo had already passed from natural causes. Strangely, when his family were shown this photo, they said that the man pictured wasn't Eduardo, and that they had no idea who the guy was. They didn't have a clue who the doe was either. The fact that she had been found dead in his motel room years earlier was news to them.
What?
With their primary lead now gone up in smoke, investigators re-examined all the other pieces of evidence that they had found in the motel room. There was a woman's suede purse, with a wallet containing $500 in cash, a suitcase full of women's clothes, a bracelet, and, most interestingly, a digital weighing scale with the name George Martinez written on it. It's believed that this scale was used to measure illicit substances, and that George Martinez may have been the name of the man in this photo. If these photo booth prints really were taken just before the woman died, was this George Martinez with her when she passed? In an effort to discover this woman's true identity, the authorities released this digitally altered version of the photo booth picture.
Come on. What? What? That just made it worse. What the fuck? Dude, it's so funny when they digitally alter pictures and then it just looks so much worse. Dude, they could use a Snapchat filter and it'll look better.
This version gives her a much more neutral expression, and, in a strange way, is even more unsettling to look at. Regardless, it had the desired effect. In March 2021, investigators received a reliable tip that the Doe's real name may have been Becca, and that she may have been from Los Angeles County. It's believed that she flew from California to New Mexico shortly before her life came to an end. At this present moment in time, the police don't suspect foul play in Becca's case,
I am
instead
digitally
believing
altered.
that she took her own life. Right now all they want to do is give her back her full name and talk to the male companion that she was with in her final photograph. To this day, however, he still hasn't been located, and Becca's true identity remains unknown. Still, there are many who believe that given the circumstances, Becca was actually murdered. With so many former John and Jane Does being identified as of late, it seems likely that in the not-so-distant future, we'll actually discover who Becca really was. Still, it's strange to think that for more than 30 years, nobody's come forward.
Wait, how do you not, the age 18 to 35? That is a very wide range. I feel like wouldn't they have a better idea? Like isn't like when you cut someone's bone, it has like the rings like a tree. Just count the rings. You know? Just count the rings and you can find their age. Isn't that how they do it? Do you get more views on here or on Twitch? On here. Literally just count the rings. I don't understand.
Really was. Still, it's strange to think that for more than 30 years, nobody's come forward to claim her, even with this photo available to the public. Surely someone out there knows that she's missing. If only the man who was with her in her final picture.
Split second before
now
the
for
end.
a photo that's both very visceral and very recent.
Oh.
It was February 19th, 2022.
Oh.
Paula Ruiz was a mother of 4, living in Chiapas, Mexico. At around 11 p.m.
Yeah, I don't know why it's always creepier when it's recent.
She finished her shift at the Arrecife de Coral Hotel, after which she met up with her son, Miguel, and walked with him to a nearby parking lot. When the pair got there, they realized that Miguel's motorcycle had been stolen. Paula was enraged that somebody would take her son's bike, and she and Miguel began walking around the area, hoping the thief hadn't got far. As luck would have it, they saw a man pushing Miguel's motorbike down a dark street, accompanied by an accomplice on a separate motorbike beside him. Paula and Miguel quickly approached these two men and demanded that they give the bike back immediately. Unfortunately, they weren't dealing with petty crooks. These two men were hardened criminals, now known to the public only as Antonio and Pedro.
They were hard?
Things escalated, and an argument erupted between Miguel and Pedro. Fearing for her son's safety, Paula stepped in front of Miguel to protect him, a move which may have saved his life. Having had enough of their protestations, one of the thieves, Pedro, took out a pistol and aimed it at Paula. As he did, Paula took out her phone and snapped this picture of him. This was the last picture she would ever take. at the exact moment.
Okay, that's fucking wow. Wow. Okay, well, I personally don't want to look at that image again. Because that is ominous as shit.
Time to arrive. But eventually, Paula did make
Really,
it to
really
hospital.
erect criminals.
Unfortunately, she passed away the following morning. As for the perps, Antonio and Pedro, they both fled from the scene after killing Paula, leaving Miguel's motorbike behind. They had taken the 41-year-old mother's life for nothing. Thankfully, they were both apprehended 3 days later in La Isla. 2 other suspects linked to the incident were also arrested that same day.
Put a Ring doorbell. We have a Ring doorbell. That's why it was freaking her out, because she didn't get a notification on her phone.
Since
But
this
she
all
heard
just
a
happened
doorbell.
last month, they're yet to be sentenced. Though, with this picture as evidence, I think it's safe to say that Pedro won't be getting away with murder.
Dude, that's like, oh man. Honestly, that's awesome that she was able to like get that. She was able to take a picture of him. That's smart.
This next entry has come to be known as the Taiwanese Elisa Lam case, and for the past 14
that's what we're gonna
years
fucking
has
do,
been the
man.
subject of a huge amount of speculation throughout the Chinese-speaking world. In 2008, a 37-year-old woman, known only as Liu, went missing in Taiwan along with her 4-year-old daughter. They were both last seen at the Yuanlin Financial Building in Zhanghua, where they were caught on CCTV entering an elevator. After these images were captured, neither Liu nor her daughter were ever seen or heard from again. To this day, it's unknown what happened to either of them. According to the building manager, Liu was acting very strangely when she entered the building that evening. When the manager asked her what she was up to, Liu told him that she was looking for a friend, at which point she quickly rushed into the elevator before he could ask her any more questions.
Thus?
Inside the elevator, Liu and her daughter discarded their shoes and red jackets and left them on the ground. As soon as the doors opened on the 11th floor, Liu picked up her daughter and sprinted down the hallway, out of the camera's view. The manager watched all of this unfold on the downstairs monitor and quickly called the authorities, fearing that Liu was about to jump from the roof with her daughter.
Gonna wait. Just gonna wait for them to shut up. Okay, are we good? Yeah, okay. I hate elevators literally because of this shit. Dude, I hate elevators in general, man.
Removing one's shoes is a relatively common practice for jumpers planning to end their lives in Taiwan. It's done so that they don't track dirt into the afterlife. That, and so that loose footwear doesn't fly off while you're falling and strike an innocent bystander. The removal of the red jackets was also a worrying sign. Red is a very symbolic color in Taiwan, and those who die while wearing red clothes are said to return as vengeful spirits. It was almost as if Liu was preparing herself and her child for a peaceful transition into their next lives. The police quickly arrived, examined the footage, and agreed that the woman's irrational behavior suggested she was about to end her life. Thing is, they searched the entire perimeter of the building and didn't find the woman's body, nor the body of her daughter. Dozens of officers scoured the inside of the complex too.
Dude, is it one of those situations where like, what was that one where like it was like a mystery where this lady went like crazy and then they found her in like the water thing on top of the building? Like the water, I don't know what you call it. Like the water tower on top of the building. I forget what that was, but is it something like that? I wonder if they're just like still in the building somewhere. Elisa Lam, yeah. That one is creep, dude. The fact that you all know what I'm talking about shows how fucking creepy that thing is, because you all remember it.
Rooftop, but they found absolutely no trace of either missing person. They went door to door and asked if anyone had seen anything. They even checked the water tanks and the building's pipes.
Oh.
Nothing. It was as if the pair of them had fallen off the face of the earth. In hopes of uncovering Liu's true identity, these images were released to the public. A few days later, Liu's ex-husband came forward and told the authorities that Liu had been raising their daughter alone. Now with the woman's identity revealed, investigators had a lot more to work with. They found Miss Liu's moped a few days later, parked a short distance from the Yuan Lim Financial Building. That was about the last significant piece of evidence they ever found. After 10 years with no new developments, the search for both Liu and her missing daughter was called off. In all the years since they disappeared, Miss Liu never once used her national health card, and her daughter was never registered to any schools, strongly suggesting...
Bro, what if she jumped and like landed on one of those ledges and she's just stuck there? You know what I mean? Like, look at how this building's built. Like they they probably landed on one of those.
That whatever happened to them, neither of them are alive. But what do you think? Why was Liu acting so strangely that night? And why have neither of them ever been found? How did they escape the building without being detected? Where did they go next? And what, ultimately, became of them? Andrew McAuley was known for being an adventurous, competitive spirit. The young Australian was an avid mountaineer and sea kayaker who liked to push himself to his mental and physical limits and really put his abilities to the test. He scaled some of the highest peaks in Australia, New Zealand, Pakistan and Patagonia, taking risky, exploratory routes. He made the first non-stop kayak trip across the Bass Strait and had even paddled 800 kilometers within the Antarctic Circle.
What the fuck?
For all of his daring antics, Andrew was named as the Australian Geographic Society's Adventurer of the Year in 2005. By that point, Andrew had effectively conquered all of the most difficult kayaking routes throughout Oceania. All of them, that is, except for one. In 2006, Andrew set himself a new challenge. He was going to cross the Tasman Sea in a standard one-man kayak, completely alone and unaided. In his mind, that journey was his white whale, the one he had to conquer. He knew just how difficult the voyage would be. To make the 994-mile journey, he'd need to spend about a month at sea, survive
994 miles? Shut up, dogs, please! I'm trying to entertain. Shadow, can you tell him to shut up, please?
Little food and sleep, and face the most extreme elements. But Andrew wasn't one to shy away from a test of endurance. After months of planning, Andrew set off in December of 2006, but his first attempt to cross the Tasman Sea ended after just one night. He was having trouble keeping warm in the cockpit of his kayak, and he quickly realized that life on the ocean was going to be much more hostile than he had anticipated.
Yeah, dude, fuck
Andrew
the
was
ocean.
rescued, and immediately went...
Dude, there's like two parts of the world that I fear most. The forests and the ocean. Forests and oceans, man. Fuck those, dude. Fuck those.
Went back to the drawing board. On January 11th, 2007, he set off on his second attempt, this time fully prepared to deal with the intense temperatures and conditions that he'd be facing. Or at least, he thought he was. All of Andrew's adventurous predecessors who had attempted to cross the Tasman Sea had done so in elaborate, custom-built kayaks designed to withstand storms and freezing weather. But as mentioned, Andrew wanted to make the journey in a standard kayak. Just one
Why?
man, his simple vehicle, and the ocean.
Why would you
Or
do
he
that?
had to defend himself against the harsh elements was a removable, homemade, fiberglass capsule that sat on top of his cockpit. This capsule, which he named Casper, was fitted with an air-only ventilator and self-righting capabilities, meaning that should his kayak capsize in the middle of the night, which it almost certainly would in stormy conditions, it would automatically flip itself back upright. For the first 2/3 of his voyage, that wasn't so much of a problem.
I've seen this picture before.
During that time, Andrew regularly radioed in with his wife and son back in Australia and told them that he was doing very well, that weather conditions were good, and that he had enough supplies to make the journey. But as Andrew got closer to New Zealand, the conditions outside his kayak became much harder to deal with. 30-foot waves began slamming into his vessel day and night, and on February 9th, Andrew made a distress call in which he said, quote, "Do you copy? This is Kayak 1. Do you copy? Over. I've got an emergency situation. I'm in a kayak about 30 kilometers from Milford Sound. I need a rescue. My kayak's sinking. Fell off into the sea and I'm going down." On February 12th, 1 month after setting off on his journey, Andrew's partly flooded kayak was found floating about 30 nautical miles from his final destination. But both Andrew and his protective yellow dome were missing. Casper had failed him. The way it had been fitted meant that whenever Andrew's kayak capsized, it wouldn't self-roll back into an upright position. Instead, Andrew would have to crawl out of the kayak and perform a self-rescue by manually flipping his vessel. It's theorized that Casper must have become detached after being struck by a particularly strong wave. With no protection and no way to auto-flip the kayak, it was just a matter of time before the Tasman Sea.
Yeah, dude, fuck the ocean, man.
Claimed Andrew.
No.
A single memory stick was found inside Andrew's camera, which was still inside the kayak. Andrew had taken a number of photos documenting his entire journey. The photos near the end of the stick shed light on just how dire Andrew's situation really was.
Dear Lord.
This was the final photo he took. To this day, Andrew's remains have never been found.
Again. Fuck the ocean. What is it? Thalassophobia or whatever? Fear of the ocean? I got that. What's the fear of the forest? Forestophobia? Wait, actually, let me Google that. Hylophobia. Nyctohylophobia, fear of forest or dark woods at night. So I'm nyctohylophobia. I think I can handle woods during the day, but at night, yeah, no.
This is the last photo taken of Nicholas Mevoli, a freediver from Brooklyn who died while attempting to set an American world record at vertical blue. On November 15th, 2013, Nicholas took to the waters of Dean's Blue Hole, a 200-meter deep limestone pit in the Bahamas. He attempted to reach a depth of 96 meters on a single breath without the aid of any propulsion equipment or supplemental oxygen. At the 68-meter mark, he stopped and began swimming back up to the surface, but seemingly changed his mind and continued downwards.
What? Huh? He changed his mind and went back down? Just go, like, if you fucked up a little bit and you get a little bit panicked, just go back up. What do you mean? What? You don't go back up and then go back down to try to break a record. What? Is this guy insane?
Everyone assumed he had just experienced a moment of panic and had now settled his nerves. But it soon became clear that something was very, very wrong with Nicholas. He made it to a depth of 80 meters before quickly swimming back up again. When he surfaced, a photographer captured this picture of Nicholas, the last ever taken of him while he was still alive. And, judging by his facial expression, it's clear he realized the seriousness of his situation, and likely even knew that his own death was imminent.
Did he get the bends? What happened?
After spending 3 minutes and 38 seconds underwater without oxygen, Nicholas was now suffering from pulmonary edema, otherwise known as wet lung. In this moment right here, he was literally drowning from the inside. Despite not being able to breathe, Nicholas flashed the OK sign with his fingers, something that has to be done in order for one's dive attempt to officially be recognized. But from the way Nick was acting, it was clear he was far from okay. He was having trouble communicating with the safety divers around him, and his eyes remained wide and terrified. Soon, blood began pouring from his mouth. He lost consciousness moments after this photo was taken, and, despite the best efforts of the medics, Nicholas passed away right then and there. He became the first athlete to die in an international free diving competition.
What the fuck? Again, fuck the ocean. Dude, why? It blows my mind why people try to do this shit sometimes, man.
Now it's time to walk away. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Did you laugh or cry or maybe subscribed? I'll thank you either way. You know I will miss you. I hope you return. Tell your friend or your mother to get me more views, please.